Hey guys, welcome to yet another survival guide. Today the topic is taxes in Denmark. Today we are going to answer all of your burning questions such as how much am I going to be taxed in Denmark when I do a part-time job? Do I have to set up anything manually before I can get my first salary? And also this tax card that everyone keeps talking about. Is it a physical card? But first, roll the intro. Okay, first of all, the topic of taxation in Denmark is a pretty big one. We have made a whole series that is more than 1 hour long, where we have tried to cover everything in as much detail as possible. But yeah, it's an hour long. So we decided to make one very short survival guide for you guys to get you up to speed with everything there is to know about taxes in Denmark. First and foremost, the tax card. That is the burning topic. Tax cards are essentially the gateway between you and the salary. Before any employer can give you a salary, they need to know how much they need to tax you. And for this, you need to have a tax card. We differentiate between two main tax cards. And before we jump into that, tax cards are actually not a physical card that you have to carry around manually. It's all electronic. You generate your tax card on Skatt.dk, but before you can do that, you actually need to have a CPR number. Or you can have a tax number. And if you're interested in finding out more about how to work in Denmark without having CPR number, that video is right for you. For those of you that have CPR number, what you will have to do is go to Skatt and fill out a preliminary income. Once you fill it out, you will be generated a tax card. That was a lot of information, so let's take it step by step. What are tax cards? Essentially, tax cards are saying what amount of tax needs to be taxed on your income. We differentiate between two main types, that is the A card and a B card. You will be hearing about these a lot. The A card is the main card that you will have. On this card, you will also have fradrag, and we will get into that later on. B income is meant to be used for all of your other incomes outside of your primary income, but also we'll get to that. So which card should you use for what? The rule of thumb is that you should have your SU, if you are an EU citizen, on the A card and all of your other incomes on B card. That is so that you don't mess something up. In case that you do not take SU, then you should use your A card for your primary income and B card for all of the other incomes. As soon as you get a job, you need to notify your employer that they should change your tax card. You simply write them an email and you tell them, hey, my SU is already using my A card, please change my tax card to B card. Otherwise, if they do not do that, they will tax you too little. And what will happen is that in May, when there is the tax report, you will have to pay back a lot of money. It happened to me as well. It sucks. So make sure as soon as you get tax cards to notify your employers which one they should be using. If you're going to be filling out application for SU, they will automatically ask you this. In that case, you should just click the A card and then call your employer and tell them that they should be using the B card. Oh, and I mentioned this word, fradrag. What that essentially means is that every month we get an amount of money that is not taxed. If you imagine the piggy bank, there is a certain part of money every month that you can earn before it is being taxed. And that is depending very much on many different things, but it's usually around 2,000 to 4,000 kronas, from which there will be only a small amount taxed. But that is only on the A card. On the B card, there is no fradrag, there is nothing. You will just be taxed, and it's usually around 38% for students. So on the A card, in case of SU, whatever you will be earning, those 6,000 from SU scholarship, the first 2,000 will not really be taxed, only the rest of the money. So that's why you can get about 5,000 from SU if you have it on A card. On a B card, there is no fradrag, so everything will be taken as it should be. That's a lot of information. It's really complicated, but please bear with me. The second part is where do you actually change these numbers and where do you input it and how do you order tax cards and so on. For everything related to this, you have to use Skatt.dk, and before you can log into Skatt.dk, you need to have either a CPR number or the tax number, but in our case, it's the CPR number. Before you have it, there is not that much that you can do. After you have it, what you have to do is go to Skatt, use your name ID, which you also need to have before you can change anything, and then go to preliminary income. Preliminary income essentially means that you will inform Skatt about how much you expect to earn in a full year, and we will also take a look at the individual columns where you have to fill it up. But essentially, you tell them how much you expect to earn in a year, and they will then be like, all right, you know what, you will be taxed 38% because you will be earning this much. So from every salary that you receive every month, they will take this 38%. So at the end of the year, you have paid your duties, you have paid your taxes, and you do not owe anyone anything. And more importantly, that they do not owe you. What happens if you do not correct these things yourself, and if you, for example, earn more money than you were expected to earn, they will ask for the money back because you owe them that money in taxes. This is a terrible topic, it's not much fun. But anyways, preliminary income, that is the major thing. So essentially, and if we are talking in case of students, which we are, then the preliminary income is what you expect to earn in a month times 12, and yeah, that is how much salary you will be earning in a year. So what you have to fill out is column 201, and I have it written down here, so you can take notes as well. So column 201 is how much you expect to earn outside of SU. So if you are having a part-time job and you expect to earn 8,000 a month, then 8,000 times 12, that's what you fill out in the column 201. In column 306, there is SU. This information is already pre-filled for you, and it's automatically generated. So there should not be a mistake on that, but double check it, because sometimes it can happen that they will assume that you have gotten 8 months of SU, but in reality you've only gotten 6 or 5. Worst case scenario in that scenario is that they will give you some money back in May. But anyways, it's a good idea to correct all of the things in a preliminary income as often as possible, so you do not avoid having excess tax or too little tax. If you are not working for someone, but if you are self-employed, if you are, for example, a Wolt Courier, or if you are cleaning for Happy Helper and all these other places, then you need to also fill out how much you expect to earn on a B Corp. That is, if you are self-employed or freelancer. That is a column 363, essentially the same thing. You just fill out how much you expect to earn. Pretty straightforward, right? And then there is column 417, which is cursusvertrouw, and this one you need to calculate, and we will get into what is cursusvertrouw in the next section. Section 3, deductions and allowances. What are deductions and allowances? I don't know, I'm not a textbook, but it's essentially Denmark giving you some money back. And you might know this, but Denmark is actually paying you for every time you are traveling to work, which is more than 24 kilometers from your place of residence. So if you are living in Copenhagen, but you are traveling to work in Roskilde or somewhere else, you might be entitled to some deductions and to some extra money from the state. So we have essentially 3 types of allowances that we need to be talking about as students. The first one is the travel allowance, as I've just told you. If you're traveling a lot, if you're using your own car, but it doesn't matter, you can actually be carpooling with someone else, and it's more than 24 kilometers from where you live, you can ask for some money back. And that's what you do in column 417, where you click on a little calculator, you input things, and it will magically give you some money. Ka-ching! Learn more on your own. Second thing is Boligstøtte. This is actually not really allowance, has nothing to do with taxes, but I thought I'd bring it up. Boligstøtte is essentially Denmark giving you some money because they think that you are too poor to pay for your own apartment. Again, check it out. We also have something written about that on our website, studentsvalguide.dk. Third thing is a holiday pay. Again, not really related to taxes, but I thought I'd mention it here because it's pretty useful. You might know this, but in Denmark, whenever you're getting your salary paid, unless you're self-employed, then your employer is paying you some extra money so that you have it on your vacation, and you can request this money in March. There has been some recent changes to this. I didn't really follow it. It kind of goes to pension right now, but you can still somehow get it. Just read more on your own. It's called holiday pay or feriepenger. Okay, now that we have all of these things out of the way, now you know that you should fill out your preliminary income, get your tax card, inform your employer about which tax card to use, and I cannot stress this one enough. You will be doing this to yourself if you will not inform your employer about your tax card, because then they will tax you too little and you might end up paying a lot of taxes. But you already know that, you're smart, you're watching Student Survival Guide, you will survive. Next up, the tax return. Unfortunately, being an adult is not too much fun. We have to do taxes. But unlike in most other countries, in Denmark, things are automatic, and so are the tax returns, which, God bless. At the same time, it kind of sucks, because if you have not paid your dues, then you will be taxed too little and you might face having to pay some money back. The tax returns are ready usually around the end of May. You will log into scat.dk using your name ID, and you will see whether you have paid too little or too much tax. It's in all spoons, that thing. So what can you do before the tax returns? What you can do is log into Scat yourself and correct all the numbers that you can see. There are different fields that you can fill out. For example, if you are a fisherman on the sea, you can get some extra allowances, or if you are a firefighter, but I suppose you are not. So you will just stick to the main columns, like for example, how much you were earning and how much SU you get, because yeah, it can happen that they have misunderstood, miscalculated something, and that's why the yearly statement might not be correct. How do you get your money paid back from your tax returns? If Scat owes you some money, they will just pay it back to your account in a month, too, depends on how fast they are. It's very individual. If you owe money, so that means that you have not changed the tax card and something terrible happened, then you have two options. Essentially, you can pay it back by credit card or something, just pay them back the taxes that you owe them. And the second option is that you can wait, and they will calculate this amount that you owe into your next year's taxes. That unfortunately happened to me. It kind of sucked, and what happened was that they had decreased my fratrouw, the allowances, to a very little amount, so that I was taxed a lot. So essentially every month I was paying back some part of the taxes because I have said something wrong in my tax card before. So now you should know almost everything there is to know about taxes. I know that all of this was pretty quick, and I have probably skipped a lot of important things, but if you want much more detailed explanation, then I really recommend you to go and check out our series with Daniel from yourtax.dk, where we have dived really deep into a lot of different questions regarding taxes. Most of the things that I've just told you, I've learned only by watching his videos. It's really awesome. I will leave a link to the playlist down below in the description. It's sort of hidden on our channel. You can only find the playlist, so make sure to follow the link. If you are still interested in learning more about Danish life, and if you are thinking about studying university in Denmark, or if you're already in Denmark studying university, then I can really advise you to subscribe to this channel, because we are sharing a lot of valuable content. And also there is a website, studentsvalga.dk, where you can find a lot more useful information unrelated to this. Moreover, this is the last of 3 videos that we will be likely doing in this style, where we try to explain to you really complex topics about life in Denmark. And from the future, we will be doing a lot more fun videos, like traveling and cooking and so on and so on. So if you are excited about those things as much as I am, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave them down below in a comment. If you do not have any questions, then make sure to follow us on Facebook, because we are sharing also a lot of content there. And yeah, this is an awesome project with a lot of awesome people. I would just like to thank everyone that's been involved in the project up until this point. And I'll see you in a video next week, where we'll be talking about applying to Danish universities and our survival guide to universities and university colleges in Denmark. Until next week, without further ado, tak og farvel.